really going to need to dig in to drive this 57,000-pound airplane down the 30-meter runway. He who pulls it farthest fastest wins.
Representing Lithuania, Zydrunas Savickas!
First up in the plane pull, Big Z from Lithuania. Four-time World's Strongest Man champion, Zydrunas Savickas.
Yes! Go! Brent, there was a time that these were the strongest pair of legs in the world. I mean, look how he's built, just thick with power. I like his short, powerful steps. He's got the body mass to pull against this 56,000-pound plane. He's got a nice rhythm going here, using the rope to stay balanced and to get a little extra pull down the course. He seems to have found his rhythm a little bit.
Built like a bulldog, and he's one of the best ever. And even at not quite 100%, after battling through injury in the last couple of years, he's still one of the world's best, making the final here and putting together a nice little plane pull here. 47.73 seconds, and that will be the mark to beat.
He was sucking O2 oxygen there at the end. Working muscles use oxygen 3 times as fast as muscles that are at rest. And it really was that cardiovascular conditioning that gave him the biggest challenge at the end. But Big Z gave it all he had to the final pull.
Laurence Shahlaei of Great Britain. Time to beat 47.73 seconds. Set by Lithuania's Zydrunas Savickas.
Yeah!
Shahlaei, longtime veteran, a world's strongest man.
Go!
Go, Laurence! Go, Laurence!
One of the hardest things in this event is getting the plane past its initial inertia. It starts at rest and wants to stay there, but it's up to the strongmen like Shahlaei is here to get it moving, and once you do, to maintain a nice rhythm, and Shahlei's looking pretty good. Now remember, Brent, a year ago, he injured his calf, but he seems to have recovered because he's looking very nicely here.
Rhythm, even with his hands, just that nice kind of up and under the rope movement. Short, choppy steps that you always talk about, and good breathing. So here he is trying to complete the course. Great Britain's Laurence Shahlaei. He's going to come short of the time, and he's short on breath. He completes the course in 44.14 seconds.
That was pretty impressive heat for him here. I really think that the cardiovascular has really been the limiting factor in a lot of his events, but didn't seem to be the case here.
We talk about moving day in golf. On a Saturday of a tournament, this is moving event time for any man who wants to make his move and have a shot at winning the entire thing. And I'm quickly here and becoming a fan of Poland's Mateusz Kieliszkowski.
He's impressed me too, Brent, especially when you consider the fact that he always seems to compete above his weight class. Now he's 6'5", but he's only one of 3 people in the final that weighs 315 or less.
He's at 306. He's the youngest competitor in the final at 23. Came into this event in 7th place, trying to make his move, and let's see what he ends up with. Across the finish line in 40.07 seconds. So that will be the mark for the rest of the competitors to go after.
You saw a little smile after he finished. Just tremendous leg drive. A smooth, efficient movement really allowed Kieliszkowski to get a great time.
And here comes a man who was awesome in the plane pull here in Botswana last year, the American Brian Shaw.
Earlier in the competition, I called Shaw a cerebral savage. It was right here in Botswana a year ago that I watched him sweep the runway before he did his plane pull because other athletes were slipping at a certain spot on the track. And Brian didn't want the same thing to happen to him. He's a very thoughtful competitor to go along with that massive frame of his.
6'8", 454. Aaron, what are you seeing out of him right now?
You know what's interesting, Brent? Something looks off with Shaw here. He looks discombobulated. His upper body seems to be dislocated from his lower body. He's a little bit more vertical, and he's not taking deep, powerful steps. His steps are vertical versus driving forward.
You always talk about low man wins. He's just not very low here. Let's see where he's going to end up. He's going to finish it, and he does, pulling it across the line in 47.60 seconds. But you know, that's more than 7 seconds behind Kieliszkowski.
That's really surprising now. Brian is as big as I've ever seen him in this competition. He's been the heaviest athlete in World's Strongest Man 8 of the last 9 years. That should have been here, but it wasn't.
Representing Iceland,
Hafthor Bjornsson of Iceland. Aaron, it's the 7th time he's been to the final. And of course, the story is well known by now. He's never won it all.
He seems to be ready here, getting himself psyched up with his staff there.
Are you ready?
Seems to travel with a lot of people that provide him support. He's a proud and hungry competitor. I would expect him to do well here, but he's going to have to give everything he's got.
Talk about Kieliszkowski in the 40.07 seconds. That is definitely in jeopardy, especially with the pace that the Icelandic giant is on right now.
Well, earlier in the qualifying rounds, Hafthor was asked to pull a 33,000-pound bus. After that, he checked in with being pretty tired, but here he seems to be finishing really, really strong.
And he's across, but it's not enough. 40.07 was the time to beat. He finishes just off that in 41.10.
Man, so close once again. You have to wonder if Hafthor's always a bridesmaid and never the bride.
Indeed, 5 podium finishes, the most ever by someone who's never won the title. Which brings us to Eddie Hall. Known as the Beast, currently the leader in the standings. And again, that time to beat, set by Kieliszkowski of Poland, is 40.07 seconds.
Well, I'm excited to see what Eddie Hall's going to do here. Remember, in the Group 4 qualifying round earlier in this competition for the bus pull, Eddie Hall bested Kieliszkowski by almost 4 full seconds. We're going to see what happens now when they added another 24,000 pounds by pulling a plane. Eddie should do well here, and he looks pretty strong.
Do you like his rhythm and his body, the way it's pretty low here?
Yes, I do. Way better technique than we saw with Brian Shaw. Short, powerful, choppy steps where he's digging in like he's in low gear, really making nice progress with this plane.
And the rhythm in his breathing as well. He's got a nice one going here, but is it enough to go into the lead? Not quite. He moves into 3rd place, pulling it across in 42.92 seconds. Which means Kieliszkowski is the winner. And Eddie settles for 3rd. Hafthor got 2nd.
This may be the biggest upset so far we've seen in this competition. Eddie Hall, known for his power, being bested by the 23-year-old lightweight from Poland, Mateusz Kieliszkowski.
He celebrates his victory in the plane pull. Kieliszkowski wins it in 40.07 seconds.